Did you know Napoleon Bonaparte wasn't actually short? Yeah, history got it wrong. Back in the day, people thought Napoleon was tiny because British propaganda painted him that way to make him look weak. But in reality, he was about 5'7", which was average for his time. So why the confusion? Turns out, the French inch was longer than the English one, and when British writers reported his height, they mixed up the measurements. Plus, Napoleon often stood next to his really tall guards, making him seem smaller by comparison. Now picture this, a man who conquered much of Europe being remembered as the little guy. This myth stuck for centuries, shaping how we see leadership and power. It shows how powerful storytelling can be, especially when shaped by politics and rivalry. So next time you hear someone say, Napoleon was short, remember history isn't just about facts, it's about who tells the story. But Napoleon's height myth isn't the only historical misconception out there. Take the idea that Vikings wore horned helmets, for example. We've all seen it in movies and cartoons, but historians agree that there's no evidence Vikings ever sported those dramatic horns in battle. This image likely comes from 19th century romanticized art and opera costumes, not actual Viking culture. Imagine how different our view of Vikings would be if we based it on facts rather than fanciful costumes. It's a reminder that popular culture often reshapes history, sometimes distorting it beyond recognition. Another classic myth is about the Great Wall of China being visible from space. While it's an impressive structure stretching thousands of miles, astronauts have confirmed it's generally not visible to the naked eye from low Earth orbit without aid. This misconception probably arose because the wall is so monumental, people assumed it must be uniquely visible from space. It's a fun idea, but it's just not true. Then there's the story about Marie Antoinette saying, "Let them eat cake," when she heard the peasants had no bread. There's no reliable evidence she ever said this, and it was likely propaganda used to portray her as callous and out of touch. This phrase has become symbolic of aristocratic indifference, but it probably originated from earlier writings and was wrongly attributed to her. These myths persist because they serve narratives that are easier to remember and share than complex truths. They help simplify history into stories with clear heroes, villains, and morals. But the real history is often more nuanced and fascinating. So what's another famous historical myth you think might be totally wrong? Maybe it's the idea that Christopher Columbus discovered America, when in fact, indigenous peoples had lived there for thousands of years, and Norse explorers like Leif Erikson reached parts of North America centuries earlier. Or maybe it's something about the Wild West, like the belief that everyone was constantly shooting at each other. In truth, many frontier towns were quite peaceful. History is full of surprises and misconceptions waiting to be uncovered. The key is to stay curious, question what you hear, and dig deeper. Because understanding the past isn't just about memorizing dates and facts, it's about uncovering the stories behind the stories, and realizing that history is as much about perspective as it is about truth.